and I'm doing a speech for one of my public speaking classes. And I'm going to be talking about pirates. When most people hear the word pirate, they think of somebody with a bandana, a pointy hat, a sword, maybe an iPad, with a large ship, lots of sails, cannons, who flies a black flag and is full of treasure.
Mario, you playing?
This classical concept of what a pirate is comes from half-truths from the Golden Age of piracy and books like Treasure Island and Peter Pan.
You like a guy.
Piracy has actually been around since people were first able to travel the water. Despite its lengthy history, most people know very little about pirates. What we do know is full of myths and abstractions. And although piracy is not as prevalent today as it once was, it still exists. First, let's talk about some of the misconceptions we know about pirates.
Hey, look, I'm trying to figure out who was laughing.
Most people think pirates have these huge ships, big sails, lots of cannons, but most pirates actually had very small boats that only about 75 men could fit in, and only about 14 small cannons. The idea of treasure and maps and riches comes from books like Treasure Island. Most of the pirate loot was raw sugar and basic supplies. Pirates often had peg legs, eye patches, or hooks for a hand. It is true that piracy was a very dangerous job. They often did get hurt, but most pirates were very young. They were only actually in their 20s. And so they didn't live long enough to have eye patches or peg legs. We often think of pirates as noble outlaws or romantic heroes, mostly because of movies. That's what we see. They were actually thieves and murderers.
Yeah, we did the same.
And some of them even participated in the slave trade.
No, we didn't do anything
They
there. Well, yeah, we didn't have
ships
grades.
and steal what was on the ships and then steal the slaves themselves. The captain of the ship often had a pet, like a monkey or a parrot. This comes from the pirates capturing animals themselves.
She sent it to me on email.
Now that I've shared some of the abstractions about pirates, I want to talk about the actual history. Piracy has been a concern in every part of the world where sea trade has been relied upon. Ancient texts describe piracy as early as the 14th century BC.
What's she doing?
In the 15th and 16th century, pirates ruled the Mediterranean Sea, and in the 17th century, they ruled the Caribbean Sea. But the most well-known period of history in piracy is the Golden Age, which is estimated to be between the 17th and 18th century. This is when the most famous pirates came from, like Blackbeard and Calico Jack, and Mary Read, Anne Monet. Blackbeard, most of you know, he was a pirate around the Carolinas. He went to sea as a young man and served as a privateer, and then turned pirate himself once the war was over. He's known as a vicious murderer, but there are no actual accounts of him actually killing anyone. Calico Jack, his name was John Ragdoll. He's responsible for the creation of the Jolly Roger flag, which is a black flag with skull and crossbones or cross swords. And he was probably the most controversial pirate in existence because he allowed women to be part of the crew. The two most famous women in pirate history are Mary Read and Anne Bonny, and they were part of his crew. Him and his crew were captured in 1720 and hung. Calico Jack's body was hung at Port Royal, Jamaica, or as a warning for other pirates. Although we know pirates have fictional characters. Because most of us have never actually seen one. So, but there's still a very lot of concern in certain parts of the world, like Indonesia, Somalia, and Bangladesh. Over the last few years, piracy has flourished in that area because of the economic conditions. Most target cargo ships, container ships, and they take the crew's valuables and electronics and try to get into their sector where they keep lots of money for exchange rates and buy laptops. They're basically terrorists with a boat. They have current technology and they use current weapons, like guns, rocket launchers.
What is your registration?
They don't have swords. They're not wearing funny little patches. The International Maritime Bureau manages the Piracy Reporting Center, which is a free service ran by volunteers. It's estimated that over 300 pirate attacks have been reported this year, which is 75% more than last year, because of the increased Somali activity off the coast of Gulf of Aden, which is one of the world's largest sea lanes.